Yeah, I mean, we just tried to be super physical, be aggressive with him. He got his three going. I mean, normally he's not taking 8 threes a game, but he felt comfortable out there. But, yeah, I think we just, he's a hell of a player. Just got to try to make life as hard as you can. I thought Cat did a really good job on him. For the most part, he really fought him, and he got up, and he made bothered his catches, and he got into his space, and he contested him well. So,
Chris, I know Ant makes some mistakes every once in a while and does, but for a 21-year-old kid to come through the way that he seems to do in these big moments, just what do you think about what he's given you when you need it the most?
Yeah, I mean, he's got that special quality that we've talked about. He's not afraid of those moments. At this point in time, some guys, you see what they're made of. They can shy away from it. He certainly doesn't. It was a great bounce back shot after the end of regulation. I know he felt bad about that. But he was on to the next play, guarded, rebounded, did a lot of the little things, too, down the stretch that were important. So.
Is this like the most resilient that you're seeing from your team? I mean, up 12 to give that away and then still find a way to win in overtime?
Yeah, I thought, I thought we started well, and then I thought we played a little tight, like in the second quarter. In the third quarter, again, we got down. I think like 9 or 10 or something like that, and guys bounced back right away. We went on a big run coming out of the timeout and changed the momentum and changed the energy in the building. And then, they could have easily hung their head into overtime, but they didn't, And so they really kind of a little bit like, we've talked about it all year. They're just better. We're just better when we have a desperate situation, So.
And lastly, just Nikhil, just what he gave you defensively and hitting those big shots.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was, great. I mean, he fought Jamal, who's been kicking our butt through a lot of the series. He really fought him, and was shot ready when the ball came to him. No hesitation, let it fly, and obviously 2 big threes. So, but I thought he made a lot of other really good little plays too. So.
When you finally break through in a series like this, what does it do for the confidence in the room? And I mean, I know we can't get ahead of ourselves here, but you finally kind of did what you've set out to do.
Yeah, I think what we liked today was we were far more aggressive. We just kind of we didn't follow them around. We didn't let them run their offense like it was practice script. We got into them a little bit more. We battled everything. Their catches, their ball pressure was better. Point of attack defense was better. So.
What did you see in the final 3 minutes of regulation, and what is the process there of trying to decide whether or not to call a timeout in those instances?
Which ones?
Just at the whole final 2:40 as it got to 9-6-3.
Yeah, I mean they made 3 threes in a row. I'm always like to save my timeouts to the very end if possible. So I thought, for the most part, I trusted the guys that were out there. So.
Chris, with Ant and just the energy and the determination that he has, do you think that maybe in the third quarter infected the rest of the team, or maybe just his emotion? How much does that maybe affect the rest of the guys?
Absolutely. I think definitely, if people feed off him in the huddle, getting downhill with the force he was able to do so in the second half in particular, and then making the right play. In the first half, I thought we fought the game a lot. We played in the crowd and didn't find the kickouts that were there. In the second half, we did. So I thought he and Mike did a really good job of kind of taking turns of operating out a pick and roll down the stretch. So.
Chris, we've seen Ant in these last 2 games have that high-level success he can have, but do it while both Rudy and Carl are on the floor. We didn't see that a lot during the regular season. What's kind of been the key to making all 3 of those guys work together while Ant is kind of going off himself?
I think a lot of it has to do with the spacing, the better spacing that we have, and the ball will move. Guys will draw attention to each other. We've still got to reestablish and continue to reestablish the chemistry between Cat and Ant. I thought we saw it in pieces tonight.
Just going back to Nikhil for a second, just what does it say about him that he, in that overtime, after not really having much of an offensive game going, that he's able to hit those shots the way he did?
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that he does really, really well as a offensive player is make spot threes, and sometimes he doesn't maybe trust his shot as much as I certainly do. I think he's a really, really good shooter. We tell him all the time, just be ready and let it go.
And then this is probably an easier lesson to teach after the win, but what's the main lesson that you want to impose upon your guys after those final 3 minutes of regulation?
Yeah, I mean, we gotta continue to get into something. I think that's part of the problem is we get down and we're trying to close out the game too early. So.
Chris, is there an update on Kyle? He left the game.
No update. No, I just know he's gone to the eye specialist. So
he was hit in the eye. That's where the injury was.
Chris, you guys allowed Denver to shoot 84% in that short mid-range, 4 to 14 feet area in Game 3, and you held them to 35% on 26 shots tonight. What do you think is the biggest difference in why you're able to be successful in that part of the floor tonight?
Well, I didn't think they were able to walk cleanly into those shots that they had been doing for the first few games.
And then the minutes with Cat and Smalls around him were much better tonight than they were in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
What do you think you guys found with that group or those groupings that worked?
Yeah, we put out a lineup that they had to guard a little more honestly, and Cat did actually a good job of establishing good position, playing physical, playing through the contact, drawing fouls, getting to the post.
With the switch-heavy defenses, what they've done with Carl, how pivotal is it for him to really crash the offensive glass?
When he's down there, for sure, we definitely want him to do that. He was active on the glass tonight. We just want to try to limit the crashing from the perimeter with him. But I think he did a really good job tonight of keeping some balls alive, if not getting them back himself. I guess he has 2 offensive rebounds here, but it feels like he was way more active on the glass than that. I'm sure he was. But yeah, it's the way that they're allowing him, they're just wrestling him all over the floor, and he's got to find a way to impose his size, and he did a good job tonight.
In those spots, can you read the game to try to make sure you're down there, when shots are going up, or is there an art to that? I mean, I know he plays on the perimeter a lot, but just trying to work your way down there when you think a shot's going up.
Yeah, I think sometimes again it's spacing related. He gets a switch and he wants to take guys into the mid post area, and we need to open up the floor against all that switching. We need to open up that floor, maybe value the dunker a little bit more, for sure.
It's a small sample size, the playoff series, but what can this do for Ant overall? Just this experience.
Listen, I mean, yeah. He's building on what he did last year in the playoffs, which is impressive, for a player of his age. We know he's not afraid of the moment. He's seeing a lot of different defenses and looks and stuff like that. But the most important thing is his experience. He's just going through this. I mean, we've said it many times in and around our facility. The biggest shame about Naz and Jaden not playing it's not because we can't have matchups or we can't use of course we miss their production and all that stuff, but the biggest shame is that those guys aren't getting the experience of playing playoff basketball at this point in their career. So that's invaluable, and for young players to do that at this time of the season bodes well for what they know they needed to get better on and carry with them into the summer and into next season. So